We felt pain. We have spent too much time building NUMSA itself, ourselves. In fact, the leading cadres in NUMSA were trained by the Communist Party.
Myself included.
The current leading cadres in NUMSA, including this one, we took him from NUMSA. They were built and trained by the Communist Party. What the idiom simply says is that if there's a corpse, I'm translating it in English, I hope it won't get lost again in translation.
If there is a problem that you don't deal with.
If there's a problem that you are not addressing, that problem will grow into a bigger problem. That actually the problem may kill you. So the issue is to resolve the problem. That's the point that the GS was talking about. So in essence, we were saying the decision by COSATU had sought to bring stability and unity inside COSATU. Now, as you can see from the conclusion of the CEC of COSATU, there's a new process of engagement. A process that we think will not be characterized by hostility and factionalism, by concrete engagement to seek solutions for the challenges faced by our workers in this country. That's what we're practically contextualizing. The question about tribalistic engagements. We have picked up serious problems on this question, and in fact, we have even been discussing with some of the traditional houses, particularly from the Eastern Cape, who called us. And we've opened up the lines to engage with them as part of contributing towards harmony inside the Workers' Federation and the concerns that they themselves have raised. But to that extent, we've also picked up that the reprisals is not only in the Eastern Cape. It's spread into other areas because of the lies that have been told about the real challenges, political and class challenges facing our federation, and people have interpreted them wrongly. It is in that respect that we've engaged and we've opened up the lines to engage with the traditional authorities in different parts of our country, particularly as initiated by some of the houses in the Eastern Cape. And we realized at that point in time that actually this thing is getting a new tone, and we needed to address this particular tone. Tribalism is wrong and cannot be condoned. It has degenerated many African countries, and we can't afford to go through that route. We have to fight it wherever it rears its head. And if there are political differences and ideological differences, people must look at them in that context. And for us, the primary form of analysis is class analysis, class prism, to look into problems facing society, far away from tribal connotations. That's the context in which we raise this particular issue. I think at an appropriate time, once we have had formal discussion, possibly we will be able to address this matter even with the media, jointly with the traditional leaders that have been communicating with us. On the question of the political levy, this issue has really troubled us because a lot of lies have been said about this question, and we have not been able to be given a chance to respond as the SACP. Some that have actually bordered on undermining our own organization. First things, the SACP has always believed that its struggle for socialism should be funded by workers. Our struggle is an anti-capitalist struggle. There's no way in which we can rely on capitalist and monopoly capital to fund us. We will be funded by workers because this cause is their cause. Therefore, that commitment still stands. And we still receive assistance from other trade unions. NUMSA used to assist us as well. But we can say on record, the assistance that we have been getting from the unions has not been enough to even carry our normal monthly overheads, if I were to use that language. Even the assistance, so-called political levy, that we get from COSATU can't even carry us for a month. But nonetheless, because it's a levy coming from the Federation, we deeply appreciate it. I want to put it in context. The highest we have ever received in a single year is just above 800,000. And most of it will go to our rental fee for us staying in COSATU. There's this misnomer and lies that have been spread in public that we don't pay rent at COSATU House. We pay rent here. And we have not received the levy over the last 4 years. And we have not fought anyone against this, because this is a contribution by workers. When it comes, we appreciate it. When it's not there and workers are facing challenges, we accept it. But also people must know that this levy is not just for the SACP. It's a levy that is divided amongst other different organizations. It's a common levy. One, COSATU May Day celebrations comes from this levy. Naledi, the research institutions, it gets its primary share from this levy. SASCO, COSAS, SACP, ANC Election Fund also comes from this levy. So it's not like this levy is huge millions. It's not millions. It's a lie. And who think that out of that particular levy we can run a functional organization? So we are funded by our own members, and of course the unions that contribute to us, we really appreciate that. But it's very important to say, whilst we will miss this levy, particularly when NUMSA leaves, it is not a primary thing. In fact, they themselves know much about this thing, that the contribution that it was making was quite meager. So it was not something that they could go all about to tarnish our image as if we rely on this particular levy, and therefore have taken decision on the basis of the levy. We cannot take decision on the basis of money. That's the point that we can raise as a party.
Can we just clarify, you did say you haven't received the political levy from COSATU in the last 4 years.
Yes.
Yes. Comrade Chris?
Yeah, no, it's covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to conclude on this thing of tribalism. You will take note that we have dedicated much attention in our statement in providing a class analysis of the material basis of the problems that have arisen in the trade union movement. We have demonstrated the historical roots of these problems and the forces that are deeply rooted, such as crisis, and we have admitted that when these things intensify, levels of frustrations among those who suffer the brunt rise, leading to them being so easy to be mobilized on the basis of things such as tribalism. We are dedicating our attention in giving leadership as a vanguard party. So we hope that following this press conference, you will assist us in communicating the class content of our statement. This will go a long way in doing away with false consciousness in our society, which, if not kept in check, could result into serious problems affecting us all, regardless of whether we are employed or unemployed, and regardless of where we live. It has been a serious effort for a chief and for a king to call SACP head office and raise issues. That is very important to note. Some of these things, you know them yourself. When we mobilize in the movement, there are some of our national groups that are being pitted against one another on the basis of false consciousness. This is one of the things we will go out to combat on a full-time basis, because a force is needed. Otherwise, we will be plunged into a serious crisis. You will be the first one, and then the second one, and then you will be the third one. You will be welcomed as the fourth one. In that order.
Okay. My name is Lucy Chimonde. I work for the SABC. I wanted to find out from you, you've spoken about the fact that the need for unity is sacrosanct within COSATU. As the SACP and as a sister affiliate, what have you done in order to try and take forward that unity? I mean, the ANC has come in, they've got their task team. What have you done as a sister affiliate? And if you've done anything, have you made any moves? And if you have you been rebuffed?
Thank you very much. A very important question. We are addressing it in the statement, but Comrade Soli will elaborate. The second one?
The
COSATU has just announced that there's now a political process. Oh, sorry, I'm ranting and something from taking that. COSATU has announced that there's now a political process to try and work through the problems they're having in the federation. And there is a suggestion that if they do work through things, NUMSA the expulsion could be reversed. I just wanted to find out how you would feel about the rotting corpse of NUMSA, or the idiomatic version of that being allowed back into COSATU.
Thank you very much. And we have all studied literature, and we understand you very well. We understand the design of your question, and we clearly appreciate the spirit, and we will clarify. The third one.
Yeah, hi. I was from City Press. Just the view out there is that the SACP has actually taken a position with regards to COSATU and the problems of COSATU. Now, the position that you have taken is against NUMSA and COSATU GSW. Those who they are fighting. Clarify your position as the SACP, because and then secondly, quickly, how much rent are you paying to COSATU?
Thank you very much. And you were the fourth one. I'm not suppressing you. I will give you an opportunity. When we live here, everyone must be satisfied that they have had sufficient chance to interact with the Communist Party and even ask vexing questions. Yes?
Genevieve Quintal from SAPA, just also on the rent and the levy. You haven't been getting the levy for the last 4 years, so you've been paying rents at COSATU for the last 4 years, and I know it costs us how much is it, but is that money coming then from money you're getting from your members to pay for the rents? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Just before I allow the leadership to respond, let me allow you to follow up.
I'm trying to understand the design of the statement on tribalism and the calls from chiefs in the Eastern Cape. Let me be direct. Are you saying that COSATU leaders and NUMSA leaders, Swelendima Wabi and Ivan Jim Akosa, are you in any way suggesting that they are fueling tribalism, or that the battle for metal workers is being fueled along tribalistic lines?
Thank you very much. The last question. What we have done, ladies and gentlemen, we have provided in our statement the material basis, the historical and structural development of deep-rooted interacting forces and deep-rooted forces and processes leading up to the rise of the crisis that you are seeing in South Africa, not only in COSATU, but in the labor movement in general. What has happened in Marikana would have happened within and later outside of COSATU. We have given you that analysis, and that we do not change. However, we are saying we have been contacted, okay, by people who raised concerns, and we have set up processes to engage with them. Because somebody can say, for example, taking it from the engagements we have had. Somebody could say Stu Madlamini is president of COSATU, Bladen Zimande is general secretary of the SACP, at the ANC Youth League currently there is a contest for leadership, and there is a geographic location from which the contending candidates come from, and so forth, and therefore build a dichotomy between the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. I come from Limpopo. I will not play into that. And it is not my faculty to buy into that. My faculty is to concentrate in the theoretical line of the Communist Party, which is class analysis. By raising these things, we are reporting to you the outcome of interactions we have had with people who raised problems. And as part of these interactions, which go beyond the chiefs we have mentioned here, we have realized that there is a problem, which if not attended, will cause serious problems. I hope you are satisfied on that. I will leave the rest to the leadership to take.
Well, just to build on what Comrade Alex is saying, you might also have observed that as an outcome of the deepening international crisis, particularly in Europe, there has been a wave of very narrow and regressive migratory policies being adopted. and also the emergence of a far right. And all of these things are as a result of the squeezing of the base, of the working class, the poor, the marginalized. And therefore the basis for such also creates conditions for nurturing of what we would call very narrow and very regressive policies. And therefore the very narrow migratory policies that most of Europe is taking, trying to bar people from entering Europe, plays into the thing of black and white there. But that is an objective outcome of the crisis of capitalism and the things that it's coming up against. And which I just wanted to back that up, that it's not only, South Africa is not only unique to that situation, but that it's a phenomenon that comes out of a result of the crisis of capitalism itself.
I'm sure you have observed the conflict between Britain and Germany in terms of the policies that Britain is adopting to block migration into Britain, and how this is playing out inside Britain. For the British to say you are not citizens here, you must not come here. I'm sure you're also very sensitive to the so-called xenophobic attacks that have taken place in South Africa, and would have clarity about the material basis in the economic structure of those problems. Comrade Sodi.
Yeah, thanks. Firstly, I want to ask one of our comrades from the office to pick up my phone. So I want to show you part of the engagements we're having with the traditional leaders, because an impression might be created that we are creating this thing. It's from them. I don't know who's there. The key, give this to one of the comrades to get me this, so we can share with you about this engagement. Let me say that firstly, what have we done to bolster unity? We have indicated, we have had over the last few months several bilateral meetings with the leadership of COSATU. This was our engagement process. We have also met with the leadership of the ANC that was handling this particular process. So we have always been involved, nonetheless, even though it was not a process characterized as SACP-led. It was an ANC-led process, which we participated in. We'll also embrace, as we now go forward, an alliance process, a fully fledged alliance process that will involve all of us in an open way, because there's nothing to hide. Initially, the manner in which we engaged in that form was precisely because NUMSA in particular, and we didn't want this press conference to be about NUMSA, but NUMSA in particular had raised issues to the extent that they blamed us. And that's how we felt that giving that space a chance would accord the ANC and the rest of us in consultation enough possibility to come with solutions facing the workers in our country. The question with regard to whether we've taken a position on comrade, I'm sorry?
Just on the
yeah, so come, Chris.
Just the extent to which we've been working with other trade union formations in the country. Well, it's not only emerging as a result of what we see now being the challenges that are confronting the trade union movement. I mean, I think the party has been having joint political schools with individual affiliates of COSATU for a very long time. And that we've had a very good working relationship, and one based on a programmatic elaboration of issues on the ground. And that further strengthened the relationship between the party and the trade union movement. In cases where such has not existed, we think it was not because there was malice involved in it and or other things that we cannot account for. But generally, the party has been working with the trade union movement very positively.
Yeah, I'll get this information and share with you now. Just on the question about whether we've taken a position on NUMSA or Comrade Vavi. We've not taken any position on Comrade Vavi in particular. He remains the General Secretary of our Federation. We participate in the alliance formation. He participates in the Secretariat. We've never objected for his participation because COSATU is an independent formation from the SACP. It takes its own decisions. which we respect. And it's important that we must respect these organizations in their own right. When we take a decision in the Communist Party, we will not want COSATU to come out and say they don't agree with that decision when we have arrived at that decision democratically. The same in COSATU. So as long as decisions are arrived at democratically, we want to uphold those decisions. So there's no position on COSATU. With regard to NUMSA, we have said, we have restrained ourselves. You will notice that we have restrained ourselves much more since this question discussions were taking place inside COSATU, including the insults held at us by comrades in NUMSA. Now, obviously, the situation changes. And this could also be the basis upon which you heard our General Secretary responding on Sunday. Post the expulsion, the situation changes. But the CEC of COSATU has just concluded its discussion, which we are not ignorant to. Therefore, it poses on the collective leadership of the alliance to respond in reinforcing one another. Our duty is to reinforce the strength of each other, not to destroy it. So in that context, we'll engage with the framework as provided for by COSATU from its Central Executive Committee that ended yesterday. With regard to how much money we pay, really, we can't go to that level. The bottom line is that we pay rent. That's the bottom line. We pay lights and water here. And we've always paid at COSATU House. But we must also alert you to the COSATU Congress decision, the recent Congress decision that said we must not be paying rent, but we have been paying rent. That's what the workers have said. They've said COSATU must accommodate the Communist Party, their workers' party here, free of charge. So we have, by the way, a task team headed by myself and Comrade Begin Chalinchal to work out the details in this regard as the Deputy General Secretary of COSATU, which was arrived at by our own leadership collectives, so that we deal with those kind of questions with regard to interdependence and so on and so forth. An impression is created that because COSATU is this massive organization, it's paying every single thing for us. No, it's not the case. We will love that because we are a party of workers.
Okay. And just on NUMSA, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to attract your attention to page 7, the last paragraph of our statement, which reads as follows. We call on all metal workers to seek constructive engagement to remain in COSATU, which is their home, as it is to the to all other workers in the country. Similarly, ANC-headed Liberation Movement and Alliance remain a home to metal workers, as it is to all other workers in this country. That's our position. What we want is unity, without which the goals of the Freedom Charter will not be achieved, as set out in 1955, without which the struggle for socialism will not succeed. So that's important, and that's the focus. That's the focus that will be guiding us going forward, and this has always guided us.
I want Comrade Alex to ask a COSA-speaking person to read this SMS to the people here. Yoliswa, you want to help me? I'll
Just
appreciate.
don't show where it comes
you
from.
don't read the.
Where it comes from.
Required to translate that in case I miss the news.
Yeah, in
but
case you
don't read
like,
where it comes from. This is the one that precipitated the discussions.
But most people won't understand. So you.